Welcome to today's training, Generate Leads with Paid Ads. We will introduce you to the command Paid Ads Manager, from which you can run ads online to generate leads. We'll also talk about smart plans and how you can use those to follow up consistently with those leads in order to turn those into business. Let's get going. Here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover the new paid ad interface within Command, and we'll cover the paid ad types that are available. We'll talk about connecting or reconnecting your Facebook business page. We will create a listing paid ad. There are 16 different types of ads that you can run. Today, we're going to focus specifically on creating a listing paid ad. And I will give you some resources. There are a couple of great resources that you can use as a complement to what we're doing today to get more information and more training on all the different types of paid ads that are available. We'll talk about all the different ones that are available. We're just going to jump into creating a listing paid ad today. We're also going to talk about a smart plan for follow-up when a lead comes in, because the follow-up process on a lead that comes in from an online paid ad is very important. And then we'll also show you how you can, if you have an ad that's up and running, how you can go back and take a look and check on the performance of that ad and how it's doing. Sound good? Cool. All right, but before we get started, let's talk about 4 laws of lead generation. What are the 4 laws of lead generation? Anybody, feel free to take yourself off mute and jump in, throw anything out. I can sit here quiet forever.
I would think be consistent.
Consistency is definitely part of it, Dan. No question about it. Anybody? 4 laws of lead generation?
Yeah, I was going to say lead follow-up.
Lead follow-up is definitely one of them. Absolutely. Let's go through those. So the first one is just build your database, right? It's about building a database and at least having a core set of people that you can be in touch with to do lead generation. The second one is feed that database every day. So 2 ways to think about this is, as you have your contacts in your database, you just want to, as you meet people, right, and continue to expand the set of people that you are in a relationship with from a real estate standpoint. You want to keep adding people to that. And then a second part of that is, you may have contacts in your database. For example, if you imported contacts from your phone, for example, you may have pulled contacts in, and that contact may just have the phone number, but you don't have their email address and their physical address. So filling out as much of those contact records as you can is important, because that allows you, from a command standpoint, that allows you to make the most use of command that you can in terms of maintaining a relationship and staying in touch with them. The third here is communicate with it in a systematic way. So Dan, that's kind of to the consistency piece, right? You want to make sure that you are communicating in a systematic way. And then the 4th law of lead generation is service all the leads that come your way. So Amelia, to kind of what you had said there, right? So when a lead comes in, you don't want to just let it sit there. You actually want to be in touch with that person and remain in touch with that person. We're actually we'll be going, really what we're covering today in terms of generating leads from paid ads really covers all of these, right? There's a paid ad portion of this that's going to generate a lead, and we'll talk about how that happens. And that helps build your database. It helps feed your database. The back half of that is communicating with that lead in a systematic way and then servicing all the leads that come your way. So we will talk about a smart plan that you may want to consider putting those leads on, so you're sure that you're staying in touch with those leads, right? And that you're continuing to be in touch with those leads. Does that make sense? Cool. Awesome. So top 3 sources of business. So we have about 175, 180,000 agents across KW in the US and Canada. And there was some research that was done by KW in terms of what are the top drivers of business for our agents. And they found that the top 3 drivers of business for agents represent about 80% of their business. So what do you think the very top driver of business is for KW agents? This is across all KW agents.
Database.
A little more specific? What do you think?
specific in database, past clients?
I'll go with that as
Sphere of
a
influence.
sphere of influence. Yeah. So sphere and referrals, right? So Dan, that's probably what you were referring to, right? So you have your database, you have your past clients, you have your sphere who may not be, haven't necessarily transacted with you, but are people that you know and who, you know, trust you, and they're referring business to you. So sphere and referrals, that's the top driver of business for agents across KW. What do you think the second one is?
Open houses.
That is correct. Open houses is the second most common driver of business for agents. How about the third?
Door knocking.
Door knocking is actually down here.
Social media?
Social media, not necessarily social media specifically,
Paid ad?
but certainly as part of that, online leads, right? So the type of paid ads that we're talking about today, or if you participate, you know, with Zillow or a realtor or anything like that, those types of leads that are being generated from online sources. And it could be social media from an organic standpoint, but it's more likely leads that are coming from some sort of paid engagement that you have. Okay. So those are the three top sources of leads across all agents. Door knocking, FSBOs, farming, those, it depends, right? For certain agents, those are the top sources of business for them. And part of the exercise that KW went through is, if those are top sources of business for you, certainly continue to focus on those, but know that, you know, these are the top three across all agents in KW, and online leads is one of those. And that's what we're going to be focused on today, how you can actually very easily create a paid ad for a listing. In this case, that's what we're going to talk about today. Run that.
Curiosity here. Sorry to interrupt, Doug. Where would farm fall into this? I know a lot of agents thrive on that.
They do, yeah. And so I think the big thing, Dan, is that it may be a matter of the number of people who actually consistently farm, right? Versus where folks get referrals from other places.
Gotcha. Okay, so this is just an overall view of Keller Williams.
It is an overall view, and as I said, there are agents. To your point, right? There are agents who farming, they do very well from that standpoint, and they should continue to focus on that if that's where they're driving a lot of their business from.
Yeah.
This is more of a across all of KW, where most people are generating their business from the top three sources. And if farming, you know, is if farming for you is one of the top three, you should continue to do that, right? Like, don't look at this and say, oh, I shouldn't farm anymore, right? Absolutely continue to do that. Because farming, once you get entrenched in farming, that's you're pretty solidly in place there, right? It does take a while to build up a farm and kind of have your presence there.
I would say too that farming almost kind of, when done well, kind of pours into the sphere and referrals as well too.
Absolutely.
If you're
Great
doing it well, you're getting referrals from those kind of people too.
That's absolutely true. Great point, Cameron. To Cameron's point, because if you have the farm and people now become familiar with you and you have them in your database, they become kind of sphere and referral as well, right?